Doctor Who has always been a bit more of a silly show, but this season is probably one of my least favorite of Doctor Who, which isn't saying that much because even though Doctor Who's one of my favorite shows of all time and I've watched episodes over and over and over again as a kid, I had really only seen Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant's Doctor. Not even Christopher Eccleston, actually. I didn't see it until I got the DVD like 5 years ago. I didn't even know he existed. I've seen David Tennant, Matt Smith, some of Peter Capital, some of Jodie Whittaker. But, I never watched them through. I watched it on cable. I just really don't like season 4. There's a lot of really good episodes, but I think a lot of them are way too comedic. And that's not a like, oh, Doctor Who's never comedic. It's always dark and serious. Doctor Who can have super dark episodes and then have a really goofy episode the next episode. Like Space Babies, for example, in the newest season, I was fine with that episode. It was kind of silly, but just a lot of episodes this season are just way too silly for me. I don't care for them. The first episode, there's just multiple gags of the Doctor and Donna not seeing each other. Like, oh, they're so close, but yet so far. It's just not funny. And then they have like this really serious scene where she talks about how she will see the Doctor one day. Like, it's just really dumb. And then, of course, she does end up seeing him, and that scene's comedic too, where they see each other through windows, but they can't really understand what each other's saying. Um, the fucking villain of the episode has a sonic screwdriver, and they have no explanation why she has one, even though it's one of the Doctor's inventions. Like, it's something only he created. I'm pretty sure. Um, just like all the Time Lords, they have something they created. We see the way later in the season, guy has like this gauntlet that instantly kills people. It's clearly a device of his invention. Time Lords like making gadgets. Um, so it's really silly to see a villain have a sonic screwdriver, and it's really just used for a gag, because he saves Donna. They're going somewhere, and he says, "We're safe unless she has a sonic screwdriver," which is highly unlikely. It's just so stupid. Um, could not care less for this episode. The second episode not only shows a future companion, um, it also has a future Doctor. Peter Capital is in this episode. It blew my mind as a kid because even though I hadn't seen that many episodes of Peter Capital's Doctor, I was like, wait, what? What? That's clearly the guy that later plays the Doctor. Just it's very cool. They do get one-on-one scene where they talk to each other, which I thought was really cool. It was like an early version of the Doctor meeting another Doctor. Um, just a really cool scene. And of course we have Clara in the episode, but her role is very small. They make it seem like it's going to be big at first, but they end up focusing on the other girls from the cult. So the Doctor and Donna go on this trip. Donna's acting in this episode is absolutely amazing. I still don't really care for this episode. It's all right, but yeah, Donna is forced to go with the Doctor on this trip to Pompeii, and they want to leave. The Doctor specifically wants to leave because it's a fixed time event. But funnily enough, the future Doctor, Peter Capital's character, bought the Doctor's TARDIS because it was just sitting on the street, and people were just fine with stealing shit back in this time. Um, so they can't leave until they get that back. But Donna does not want to leave, knowing that these people are all gonna die. She wrongly thinks that the doctor, that's what he does. He saves people. But it's a fixed point in time. She says, well, if you save just a few people, it won't matter, right? And he ends up giving in and saving Peter Capital and a few other characters, which are his family. It's a decent episode. Still didn't really care for it. The third episode, they bring back the Ood. This episode definitely scared me a bit as a kid, simply because of the scene where the guy transforms into an Ood. It's so creepy. But they bring back the Ood, and I guess they had realized that it was kind of fucked up how they framed it in the the I think it was the second season how they framed the Oods, but or maybe that was their plan all along, because they end up backtracking on the thing they had said in season 2, where that they liked being slaves. They would die if they weren't slaves. And we find out that the things in their hands was their brain cut off, and then a tube thing put in their hands. So it is really fucked up and sad. I'm glad that the Oods are free now. The next episode is this sexist Sontorian, who's very mad that he wasn't in the Time War. There's other people that are also other Sontorians that are mad that they were in the Time War, but they also just talk bad about women. Donna and Martha get to meet, but Martha gets sidelined, which sucks. I love Martha. I would have loved more interactions with her and Donna. They get some cool moments, but they just put Martha to the side and then don't save her till like the end of the part 2. It's so stupid. And then I love this because I've known this fact for years. David Tennant references Christopher Eccleston's episode, one of my favorite episodes of the entire series, the gas mask episode, by just randomly putting on a gas mask and saying, "Are you my mummy?" because he forgot his lines. Before I talk about the next episode, I want to talk about the fact that I forgot to talk about one. Last season, there was an episode where they go back to the year 5 billion or whatever, but the doctor takes Martha instead of Rose. In my opinion, that episode just really sucks. Doesn't make too much sense either. Like, there's a homophobic cat. It's just really depressing. Apparently 5 billion years in the future, there's still people that deem being straight traditional because he refuses to call this lesbian couple a couple. He calls them sisters. And then it reveals that the monster this whole time was like crab creatures. It's just so underwhelming. Now, back to this season. We get the doctor episode where Donna is just really hypocritical. She talks about how she doesn't want a child from this DNA thing, but expects the doctor to own up to being a dad now, technically. She does survive, but we never see her again. In this season, at least. Maybe she returns in Matt Smith or Peter Capital, but I don't know. They also sideline Martha again, but her storyline is actually pretty interesting in this one. I just wish they would have kept some episodes where Martha and Donna got to work together. But nope. Martha's also has some really good acting in this episode too. The next episode is The Unicorn and the Wasp, which is kind of a silly episode, but more fun. It's like a murder mystery. People criticize the doctor like usual. That is a very common thing that I always love. Like they are just not happy with the fact that the doctor is so happy with doing these things. So, he's rightfully criticized for being way too happy about murder. Just, it was an alright episode. They use a gay couple as a joke in this episode, where they use a lot of jokes in this episode where they like and a lot of flashbacks. I don't think I've ever seen this many flashbacks or flashbacks at all in Doctor Who. But they're like, oh yeah, he was alone, so he doesn't have any alibi. But then they cut to it being them together. So I guess homophobia exists, but not sexism or racism. They're just I don't get why sometimes they deal with racism. Sometimes they deal with sexism. Sometimes they deal with homophobia. Then other times they act like it doesn't exist. I don't know what they're going for. The next episode is a really good episode. Silence in the Library. We get introduced to River Song. It's a two-parter. Just really fun episode. It is a bit confusing at times. It has a very underrated joke. I don't see enough people talk about it. But Donna realizes that this world she's in is fake. Nothing she does really matters there because this is like a dream. And she gets pissed because she's been dieting. So the dieting thing doesn't matter. She didn't lose any weight because this is like a dream. It's just so funny. Of course, River Song is very important later. But since she's only in the two-parter, I won't really be talking about her that much. She was fun. Just a decent introduction to her. Now, Midnight. Absolutely amazing episode. This episode, they decide to focus on the Doctor and the Doctor only. So the Doctor, Donna is at like this vacation thing or whatever. I don't really remember what it says, but she's just kind of chilling at like a spa or something. And he's on the mission this time. And they just focus on him. Eventually it crashes and all things go to shit from there. The creature ends up getting in and controlling one of the passengers. And she does a fucking hell of a job pretending to be this monster, acting out this monster. Really good actor. And she's not like a main character or anything. I love to see when other people that aren't like the Doctor or the companions put a hell of a lot of work in there. And she's just amazing. And the fact that we don't even learn what this creature is amazing. But they slowly learn, and it's just so creepy. You can see her talking in the background in some scenes. I can't do this episode justice with how I talk about it. It's definitely an episode you have to watch yourself. It's just amazing. Then we get Turn Left, which it's a fine episode. They show that if Donna didn't join the Doctor, he would have died, because in the episode where he had met Donna, he had killed all the alien babies, and he wasn't leaving. He was just standing there watching them die. Well, if Donna wasn't there to take him out of there, he would have stayed there and died. Just kind of weird, I guess. It was a fine episode. Donna's acting in this episode is also extremely amazing. Donna is such a good actor. Really fun character too. I love her as a companion. Donna, Martha, really good companions. Unfortunately, Rose is back. I don't like Rose. We also get a lot of specials this season. One of them is Planet of the Dead, where the Doctor is on this bus and they go through a warp hole, and they're stuck on this planet that's full of sand. but the sand is really millions and millions of dead people that were killed by these creatures. Um, it's one of the solo episodes because we get multiple specials, and the Doctor is he goes solo, and everyone. It's so good. He still interacts with other characters, but he no longer has a companion with him. It has the actor who does an amazing job in Get Out, and he was also in Nope. So this was probably one of his first acting gigs. It was really cool to see him here. Did not expect that at all. Um, so really cool to see him here, but he doesn't really do that much. There's these fly creatures that are actually the good guys, like they're not exactly bad, but they unfortunately die. Um, then we also get a Christmas special that doesn't really revolve that much around Christmas, where the Doctor meets another Doctor, but not really. He had touched a Cyberman's info stamp, and it made him think he was the Doctor. He still does a pretty good job as the Doctor, all things considered. Um, Really fun episode. The Doctor actually stays behind and has dinner with someone. Um, they also clap and thank him because he had never been thanked before. Um, just a really fun episode. Then, of course, the last official episode are two-parters because for whatever reason, this show did lots of specials and Google does not count them as part of the episode, which is so stupid. Makes it more confusing to review them. Had to get on fucking HBO to see the specials. So Stolen Earth and Journey's End. They get all the companions together. It's a pretty fun episode. They bring back Harriet Jones. She dies. The Doctor just has like one scene where he reacts to it. I wish they would have done a little bit more with that. Overall, pretty fun episode. The Doctor defeats the Daleks like usual. We get to see some characters interact that have never interacted before, like Mickey and Martha, who end up getting married randomly. We see their fate in the final two specials. So, of course, we get the Christmas special 2009, The End of Time. It starts off with the Oob telling the Doctor he shouldn't have fucked around. He should have immediately came to them because he knows his time is up. And he travels to all these different planets before he goes to the Ood. And he does not want to go, clearly. The Master comes back. It's clearly not the Master that's the major threat. It's the Time Lords that have set this whole thing up. They had planned for this to happen. They knew the prophecies, they knew what was going to happen, so they found a way to be able to come back to life and take over the world. They were going to destroy Earth and make the Time Lords repopulate it again and basically make it hell on Earth. One of the fucking Time Lords, the main one we see the most, is played by the dude that plays the Chief in the Doom Patrol show, which I did not expect at all. It's really cool. Which is even funnier because the girl that plays Missy ends up being in the Doom Patrol show too, who's also in Doctor Who. So, of course, he ends up defeating the Master, but at the cost of him having to bear all the radiation because Wilfred saved this random guy. He knew that this system only lets people out by, two people being in at the same time. So one has to press the button and stay in there. Another one has to come in to let him out. So he had went in there to help that guy. But now Wilfred can't leave without exposing radiation. So the Doctor sacrifices himself, which obviously now he has to regenerate. But he spends all this time to say goodbye. That's why he doesn't get a big speech either when the previous Dr. Christopher Eccleston did. It was because he'd spent way too much time. Plus, he didn't have any companions with him at this point. A lot of people don't like that his lines before his regeneration are so short, but I'm going to explain why I'm perfectly fine with it. But first, I got to talk about the fact that he went to go see all the companions, even people that weren't companions. He went to go see how Martha and Mickey were doing. They're married now, very random. He saves them from a Sontarans. He sees how Rose is doing, but in the past, before he had met her. He goes and sees how Jack is doing, and they bring back Alonzo from the Titanic special episode. So I guess him and Alonzo are gonna have a fling. It's not like Captain Jack stays with people, so it's just kind of dumb. He also sees the girl from that he had started dating when he became human, but it's her daughter. And eventually he finally goes to regenerate, and he's struggling. He's slowly limping and wobbling all around, and he says just a few words, "I don't want to go." Which is pretty obvious from the very beginning of the first part of the two-parter, and that is the fact that he delayed even coming, and now he takes his time to say goodbye to everybody. No other Doctor really got to do that, as far as I know. So, really good end to David Tennant's arc. I look forward to Matt Smith as the Doctor.